This episode of Midnight Drive-In is sponsored by Unique Philosophy, unique and effective video marketing for your business needs. Call 828-485-7435 or visit online at uniquephilosophy.com. Golden Ticket Cinemas, gtccinemas.com. Monday through Friday, $5 movies all day long. Reclining seating and reserved seating. Relive your childhood movie-going experience and come to the small neighborhood theater. Golden Ticket Cinemas. Looking for that hard-to-find DVD? Maybe that collectible you just have not been able to put your hands on. Well, guess what? There's a place in Newton, 609 West 20th Street, Newton, North Carolina, The Spot. The Spot will have it. If they don't have it, they'll find it for you. Find them on Facebook at The Spot Toys. Now, let's get on with the show.
Little pigs, let me come in. Not by the hair on your chinny chin chin. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in.
You're listening to the Midnight Drive-In, the show about the films you have never heard of, but must see. Join Sander Clegane's stand-in Lee Bridges, Garrick Lane, whose Indian name is Talk with Hands, and introducing to the show Negative Nancy, or as his mama named him, Doug Wall, and me, the stellar actor, voice talent, and all-around good-looking guy Mark Rose, for another hour of your life you'll never get back. This is the Midnight Drive-In.
Rubber baby buggy bumpers. Okay,
Are you having a stroke?
Welcome to the Midnight Drive-In. I'm your host, Garrick Lane. I'm with my co-host, Lee Bridges.
How's it going?
Mark Rose.
What's up?
And we have a special guest, a good friend of mine who's always shared a great appreciation for good films. My buddy Doug Wall's here with us tonight.
Thank you very much.
How we doing, gentlemen? How was your week?
Good. Very good.
Anything
Excellent.
cool? You haven't lost your virginity yet? Lee?
Nah, still open. Yeah.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah,
Hey,
never
man. That's hard to do. It's good. I'm proud of
I
it.
appreciate it.
Good movies? You watching good movies?
I've been watching a lot of older movies, just rewatching films. Like watched a lot of old kung fu movies this week, stuff like that.
Nice.
Nothing new, except the film we're going to talk about later.
Ah, right. Well, I watched Doug. Actually, I think Doug. You referred a movie called Raw, right?
Raw.
Raw.
Correct.
I didn't see that one. And It Follows. I did see It Follows.
Okay.
Has anybody seen It Follows?
Absolutely, yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's a good movie. I think it suffered from a little bit of what we talked about before, a little bit of a scariest movie you've ever seen, advertising fatigue.
Quentin Tarantino said that it was stunning.
Movies like this, we've talked about like prestige horror movies, films that are like like that. The build up is so strong, like Hereditary.
Yes.
The commercial, like it's advertised as the scariest movie in years, and they always say like, if you ever hear like from stories from like the Sundance Film Festival where people pass out in the screenings because they get so scared, it's bullshit. Like, the fact that it happens only at film festivals, when they're trying to sell the movie, that's But I mean, It Follows is good. I mean, it's it's a very well made movie. Parts of it are very creepy, but I mean, I don't think it's like the end all be all for films.
What do you think?
I like the originality of the idea. I like the way that the movie begins. It's ultra creepy. The first maybe 4 or 5 minutes of the movie, I really, really enjoyed it. And anything that's different in this genre is going to garner a bit of attention. And this movie is definitely not your average kind of horror movie. So I liked it.
Because the director, he's a dramatic director. Like, it's the only horror movie he's ever made.
Right.
I like the originality of it. It was no teeth.
Right.
Teeth was...
Yeah. Now there's an original idea for a horror movie.
Yes. You ever seen Teeth, Mark?
Never.
Never seen Teeth?
Never even seen It Follows.
Oh, okay.
Well, there you go.
You want to tell him about Teeth?
Teeth is about a young girl. What, she's about 16, 17?
Yes.
Yeah, teenage girl. And
Who goes to the dentist.
yeah, and the gynecologist actually, which works out bad for that guy. And it's about she has teeth in her vagina, but her vagina is a mouth. I mean, they're not always there. I guess you say they're almost like they can retract.
They can retract.
You know, I guess is the best way to put it.
Why is her vagina a mouth?
The only reason they give is she lives in a town with a nuclear power plant.
Yes.
And there's I've been people who've had
Don't drink
3
the
Mile
water.
Island.
Yeah, exactly.
Results. Yeah.
And
Don't drink the water.
and it's just
Don't
I mean,
use the douche.
like her stepbrother's this extremely creepy, guy who's always hitting on her, even though and
He's wanting to get him some of those teeth.
and he does. He does.
Yep.
It's an original, and the actress I don't remember her name, but she's great in it. It's the only thing I've ever seen her in.
They probably had to pay her double.
I would imagine so. And
Underage. I mean, can you imagine pitching that script to her parents?
right?
Even though she's, an aspiring actress.
Yeah.
Here's your first film.
And then they had to do a plaster cast of her vagina, I
Right.
imagine. So.
Well, you don't actually ever see it.
Well, right.
Yeah, you just see the after effects.
Yes, definitely see the after effects.
Yeah.
So there's two. There you go. There's two movies. If you're feeling frisky,
I will say about if you're a person who is not a big fan of gore, if you're not a big horror fan, this might be sort of an entryway into the genre for you, because it's not. I mean, it's a very creepy movie, but it's not a very violent movie.
right?
And it's just
It's a gateway to
It was
horror.
It's a gateway. Yeah,
it was
that's-
just okay.
yeah, it's
It
okay.
was just okay.
Like it's
It's the marijuana of horror movies. It's a gateway drug.
Gateway drug.
It's
It's
a
the
gateway.
gateway,
yeah.
yeah. Whereas the film we watched tonight
Wow.
is on the extreme other end.
This is obviously the LSD of horror movies.
Yes, it's the LSD of horror movies. In fact, it's probably one of the best films I've seen in a very long time. Tonight's Midnight Drive-In review is none other than Mandy.
Mandy, yeah.
It was Nicolas Cage.
What'd you think, Mark? You start us off. You're always the bearer of bad news.
It was a decent movie, I thought. It's a love story that turns into a revenge tale. Not on the scale of revenge tales like Count of Monte Cristo, but it holds its own.
But Count of Monte Cristo doesn't have a chainsaw fight. Just saying.
And it doesn't have Nick Cage in a bathroom chugging vodka in his underwear.
That's
going,
true.
"Oh!"
I'm going to be completely honest. It might. I haven't read it.
Nothing
I'm
like
just assuming.
Nick Cage in his tighty whities screaming at the top of his lungs. But that was an incredible shot, though.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
It seemed like it was like a single shot.
Never got off of him.
Yeah, I think you noticed a thing about it, technical wise, just because they probably didn't want to do a retake,
Right.
or the camera shook a little bit. But
Well, there was actually something I read where they had a camera issue. This scene he did. It was the first take, and they had a little camera issue with the Steadicam, and obviously, like Lee said, I think, or somebody said, you can't get him to do that again.
No.
It doesn't get any better than that. So, of course, when I watched it, I saw it basically it's one of those Steadicams that I have, like the Ronins, and it shifted just a little bit. And
which
in
only
normal
you noticed.
people would, I would say,
Yeah.
cut. You know what I mean? But this guy let it sit, and they probably would have never got. Nobody even noticed.
But also, the movie does have a very handmade look to it.
Sure.
So it really, like, if it was like a big movie, that would be completely unacceptable.
Right.
Yeah, but
sure.
this actually kind of adds to the movie, in a way. Because like all the effects, like I'm sure there is CGI, but like a lot of the animation is all hand drawn cell animation. It has a very old school feel to it. So that really doesn't bother me. Like I've seen a lot of movies from the 70s where you can actually see like there's a boom mic in it.
Yeah. But this movie is technically it's excellent.
Oh, absolutely.
And speaking of, I've never seen a movie that's used. In this film, they use two transitions, and they do it in animation. Mm-hmm. And the only other time that I've seen live action, well, I'm sure the only two times that I can remember,
Right.
They did it in Natural Born Killers, and they did it in Kill Bill.
Right.
And it was just this random animation that comes in, It's there for a minute or two. Although the Kill Bill was a whole sequence, wasn't it? It was explaining Lucy Liu's whole situation,
right?
Backstory.
Her backstory.
Yeah. But this is more. I think this is more. This is almost like how Nick Cage is seeing it.
Yes.
This is almost from his point of view. Like in his mind, this is what's happening because his point of view is altered.
Well, the director said something about he wanted the film to look like a heavy metal album cover.
Yeah.
So,
and also, Mandy's reading like a cheap paperback fantasy novel throughout the first act of the movie.
Yes.
So I think it's almost like his mind is sort of going into that world. You know, particularly with all the LSD.
That's a great way to describe it, because I was thinking the first 17 to 18 minutes of the movie was kind of slow, but but the way you just described it, that's
it makes a lot of sense. See, now you like it even more.
Yeah, there's a movie that's completely different to it that has a similar pace, which is the Denzel Washington Tony Scott movie Man on Fire, which is over 2 hours long. But the first 45 minutes is just about Denzel and the little girl's relationship
And the struggle.
Yeah, but once the revenge in that movie kicks in, it becomes a completely different movie.
Yeah.
You know, stylistically they're worlds apart, but you know, just as far as the pacing goes, very similar.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good point. But it was so. I'm sorry, we completely interrupted you.
Sorry.
So you did enjoy it. You didn't enjoy it.
It had its moments. Yeah, I enjoyed it as it went along. It definitely picked up, and I actually liked the ending of this movie, unlike Hereditary. So that Lee didn't like any of Hereditary, and I did.
Or Kill List. Kill List ending. You're like, oh.
Kill List, I was not nuts about. This movie was actually pretty good.
The Devil's Rejects, the 45. What was it? Freebird.
Oh yeah, the Freebird.
Slow-mo Freebird montage,
gunshot,
and then pulling their guns out.
The music was the best part of that movie.
Yeah.
There'll eventually be an episode where we don't shit on Rob Zombie. I don't know when that will be.
That'll never happen. What are you talking about? Sorry, Rob.
Well, I interrupted you again, but ironically, you said music made The Devil's Rejects. I think
it made it tolerable.
Yeah, it made it tolerable. Whereas the music in this film actually was a character.
Oh, yeah.
Like
it was.
Made the film.
The soundtrack, the whole soundtrack of this film was fantastic. That's why I said technically and the soundtrack are the best parts of this movie. And the ending was good. So.
All right, guest star, what'd you say? You were excited about coming and checking this movie out?
Very pleased. I absolutely loved it.
Really?
Yeah. Very, very unique movie from start to finish, although it is, as Mark addressed, it is a love story. It is a revenge tale. Sometimes those two, more times than not, kind of intertwine, but this was completely different. It visually is as stunning a film as maybe I've ever seen. Like we've addressed, the soundtrack, the music to it is perfect. It's eerily perfect.
I mowed my yard to it. Actually,
nice.
Who did the music to this?
His name is Johannes.
He's from Iceland. Yeah, I'm not going to mispronounce his name.
He did, and that was probably a completely mispronounced.
Yeah,
he did Sicario and The Arrival.
His scores are they're less music than they are just sort of tone of the movie. Like, they're not like a John Williams score.
Like very
it sets the tone.
Yeah, it's
sure.
like
drones.
Yeah, it drones on. Yeah, exactly. And this was his last. He unfortunately passed away right after he finished the score.
Oh, really? Wow.
And
he did.
Yeah, but it was just released on a really nice.
That was the
album.
That was the in credits. I think there was a mention of in memory of.
Yeah.
Well, what's amazing, and this is a footnote, and I don't want to step on his memory, but he died of an accidental overdose. But he apparently, and this is complete hearsay. This is just stuff that I read. He was replaced. He was doing the Blade Runner, the new Blade Runner,
right?
Because he does all of Dennis.
I can't pronounce French last name.
We're killing this right now.
Dennis French last name.
You don't want to hear two guys.
We're doing a movie podcast and we cannot pronounce names. Like, what are we doing here? We're gonna go back to school after this one.
Well, are you gonna edit in? You're gonna get someone who can say it and just edit it in.
Tell them what they've won, Bob. A new education in pronunciation. Yes, that's right, folks. Lee and Garrick are morons. The correct pronunciation is Denis Villeneuve and Johan Johansson. Now back to the show, morons.
So anyway, the director of Blade Runner brought him in. He had done Sicario and The Arrival, and brought him in to do Blade Runner, and it was not going well. And he ended up They ended up replacing him with Hans Zimmer because they wanted it close to the original that the Vangelis did. And apparently took it very hard.
Right. Yeah. Well, I can imagine.
So you think it was suicide?
No. I didn't say that. I'm saying that apparently that relationship between those two, he took very hard when he was replaced by Hans Zimmer because he apparently, this is just two articles. He just wasn't. It wasn't working. He was trying. He was trying to duplicate or get the sound. To match the beginning one and just couldn't do it.
Right.
So.
Which that's a tall order.
Yeah, the studio's like, look, we got all this money. We're gonna replace you.
Right. Plus, the new Blade Runner was an insanely expensive movie. You know, I mean, so I'm sure the studio they were
insanely awesome too.
Right. But I'm sure they were. You know, they didn't want to leave anything to chance.
Right. Well, so anyway, that's a footnote, but I don't know. You know, that has nothing to do with whatever happened. But that's ironically to hear that. He was replaced on Blade Runner and then turns around and does something like this. Yeah. This soundtrack is fantastic.
It really is. The thing I would compare it to is John Carpenter told a story like he had showed Halloween to a film distributor, but the score wasn't finished yet or wasn't added to it yet, and they didn't like it. And the woman called him like a year later, said she'd seen it in the theater with the score and said it was the scariest movie she'd ever seen. And she'd already seen it before. So it really does. It's that type of movie where, like the score, like you said, the score is almost a character in the movie.
Yeah. Did you think it was slow? Some of these scenes, anything?
The first act is slow, but
it's funny because during the movie, I at some point in time, Doug said, "I don't know if I want it to end. I don't even know what's going on, but I don't know if I want it to end."
It's very dreamlike, even from the very beginning, before the action really begins. You know, the first 17, 18 minutes, it's still very ethereal. It's very dreamy when they're out on that lake, him and his wife. You know,
talking about their favorite planets and stuff.
Yeah, and. From where it begins to where it ends, you can never see it coming. No. You know, I had absolutely no idea, even after watching a trailer a couple of times before watching the movie, what exactly was going to be going on in the middle of this. Saying that it's the LSD of movies, when it is literally what this movie kind of revolves around, these characters that are taking these mind-altering drugs all through it.
But they were so much in love, so you knew something was coming.
Yeah, something was going to have to ruin it because they were just,
overly
they
in
were
love.
too happy.
And they don't get into any backstory about why Nick Cage is so such a badass. But you know what?
The only thing that backstory they give is when he's a lumberjack and he gets in a helicopter because they're working in the middle of nowhere, and the guy offers him a beer, and he sort of he kind of gives him the no go, like he waves it off, and that I sort of took from that he's been sober for a while because you know, and once shit hits the fan, that is out of the fucking window. Yeah, you know he's had a hidden bottle of vodka in the bathroom, you know, just for the. Break this glass in case of an emergency bottle.
Absolutely,
and
he likes beer. And
he
still likes beer.
Yeah. And then he after one fight he manages to do a Tony Montana with a whole bunch of cocaine his bikers had, and then he hits some acid out of a jar, and from there, man.
I wonder if that was CGI when his pupils became the size of dinner plates. I wonder if that was like just contact lenses, or if that was actually done digitally, because they were huge. You know,
there's really no telling. With
that's it. This movie you can't actually tell what's
We should call Cosmotus.
Yeah.
And beg him.
Yeah.
Hey man, can I be like AD on your next movie?
I wonder what movie he'll do next, because really, this has been for a very low budget movie about mutant bikers. Who are addicted to acid. I wonder just what project he'll do, because he's done one movie that was not very successful. Successful as a low budget horror film, but then this movie is like it's actually they're releasing it in more theaters every week, and it's all over the internet. Like I've seen 10,000 Cheddar Goblin memes. You know, and just like people like on film pages on Facebook and stuff. This is mostly what people are talking about.
And this movie would be amazing on the big screen.
Oh, absolutely.
We watched it on this tiny little screen here. It would be amazing on the big screen.
Yeah, this is a movie, like a lot of movies that, you know, people talk about. We talked about people watching movies on their phone, and this is a movie that begs to be watched on a big screen.
Oh yeah, well, you know, I watched it first. I bought it. I was coming back from Los Angeles and I was on a flight that didn't have movies.
You watched it on a smaller screen.
Yeah, so I watched it on my iPhone with my.
That's why he's blinking like that.
Yeah, my headphones in. Now the sound was great.
No, that
sounds great, but you know, and then every now and then it's ding, ding, and it was very distracting. However, I loved it. Of course, I come home and I'm like, dude, we got to do this movie. We got to do this movie. I'm calling Doug. You got to come over and do the podcast and watch this movie.
Yeah, I think I sent you the trailer like 3 weeks ago. You know, like
yes, you did. You did spot. That's right. This is your idea.
Well, I would say it's my idea.
Well, it was your idea because I sent you something that some movie.
Oh, it was Hereditary. You said
yes, and you said I think Nick Cage would eat Hereditary's lunch. Guess what? That could never be more true.
Yeah,
but I did enjoy it, even though this isn't the biggest screen.
It was
much
looked
better
great on
the
TV.
Second time.
Yeah,
it was much better. I thought it was. From a filmmaker point of view, it was almost flawless.
Yeah, and it's a great movie to watch with a group of people. Like we watch, like you've seen it before, but you weren't really commenting on the movie. You know, you just let us just enjoy it as three people who haven't seen it before, and that's to watch it with people who hadn't seen it. That's how you should see it because it's it's a movie you will definitely talk about. It's not one of those movies you'll just go, it's okay. You know.
Yeah, you'll get in the car.
Yeah.
Or you won't have anything to say about it. You'll think about it 3 days later and be like, man, that movie was freaking crazy.
Yeah, nobody will be like, it's not as good as that other movie where Nicolas Cage chainsaw fights a giant. You know, it's there's no other movie like this.
That is true.
My chainsaw is bigger than yours.
Yeah. Does it rejuvenate Nick Cage's career?
I don't know if it'll rejuvenate in the way like Pulp Fiction did for John Travolta, but he'll probably hopefully he'll start getting better scripts. That's the best case scenario because I actually read an interview with him a couple of days ago, and he said he knows people watch his movies mostly video on demand, and he said that doesn't bother him as long as they're watching them. He doesn't care
as long as the check doesn't bounce.
Exactly. He's got dinosaur skulls to buy. I actually saw it was from some newspaper and it said Nicolas Cage agrees to send back rare dinosaur skull to Mongolia. And I was like, oh god, his life is like a National Treasure movie.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he's very extravagant.
He bought some skull that apparently had been stolen from somewhere in Mongolia. No, he didn't have them steal. He just bought it from someone.
So he actually did try to steal the Declaration of Independence.
And he probably thinks National Treasure is a documentary.
What do you? All right, not compared to. In this movie, he barely speaks.
Right.
He probably has 4 pages of dialogue, I think.
Yeah.
It's still awesome.
Right.
It doesn't...
It's all with his eyes. It's all...
Oh, yeah. Like, it's all internal.
Yeah.
Everything's internal. Like, that one scene they sit on, and I'm not going to give anything away, but they're sitting on him as he's watching something go down. Like, that's good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's as good as Leaving Las Vegas.
No, but it's a different type of performance. Maybe. That's all him talking. That's all him being Nicolas Cage. This is more like there's like actors, especially the leading men, I think have 2 different careers. Like Charlton Heston in the 50s, Ben-Hur would never have done Planet of the Apes when he was 10, 15 years older and wasn't as famous anymore. But sometimes those are the movies people like better.
And then there's like John Wayne trying to do Genghis Khan.
Right, exactly.
That was insane.
Yeah. So
I
like this movie more than I like Leaving. Like I'll rewatch this movie more than I'll rewatch Leaving Las Vegas because Leaving Las Vegas is it's so fucking sad.
It really is miserable.
It's a great movie. I'm not saying it's not good. It's just like that's a movie I have to be in the mood to, and this is a movie I have to be in the mood to watch. But this is a movie you can watch it like you can watch this movie at a party. Like get a group of friends together, get a couple pizzas, some beers.
I don't know know about all that. You think so?
If you got weird friends, I don't mean like I'm not mean like your wife or anything.
Only
I mean,
with
just
weird friends.
People who like people. If you got friends who like movies,
Yeah, I was gonna say people that appreciate movies.
That's what I'm talking about.
I would think people that
I don't think you should
appreciate
bring it to a
movies
church
think it's
group
too
or anything.
slow. Like,
but like people who like movies, if you got a group of friends and you all like horror movies.
eat some mushrooms.
Exactly.
And watch that movie.
But like Leaving Las Vegas, nobody's going to be sitting around with a group of friends and goes, guys, let's rewatch Leaving Las Vegas, and I'll feel terrible about it.
As you're drinking your liquor drink,
Yeah.
and then you look up and you're kind of like, you look down at your liquor drink, you're like, let's put in something else.
Exactly. Exactly.
Although,
Does anybody have Big on DVD?
Dazed and Confused, like I need something to put me out.
Yeah. That was my point. Not that it's a better movie than Leaving Las Vegas.
Well, what's your favorite Nicolas Cage's? What's your favorite Nick Cage movie?
As far as performance, it's probably Leaving Las Vegas. As far as just the movie, I'd say, Well, like I said, there's two. Like he has two different careers. There's drama Nicolas Cage and action Nicolas Cage. Drama wise, it's it's Raising Arizona.
Good one.
Yeah, which is his best comedic performance. He's basically playing like Wile E. Coyote in that movie.
I'll be taking them their huggies.
Yeah, and I'd say it's that, and then action movie wise, it's The Rock.
The Rock, Sean
What do you
Connery.
think?
Can we put this one in the mix, Mandy? Does it count,
Sure,
or does it have to be
no,
something prior to this?
You
Because
you can put whatever you want.
You're capping this off as Nick's best performance?
We were looking
no,
on
I'm not necessarily going to say that. I also believe that Leaving Las Vegas for me is my favorite, most memorable Nick Cage. But his goofier roles. You spoke about Raising Arizona. Also, Peggy Sue Got Married is another one that he was actually he was really good in that. Also,
Gotta love Kathleen Turner.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I used to have the biggest crush on her back in the day. Before
Romancing
Sex
the
Change,
Stone?
I guess.
man.
'Cause
Romancing the Stone.
who knew? I feel so bad now. But
Time is what it is.
time waits for no one. That's
That's
for
it.
sure. But another Nicolas Cage movie that kind of goes that flies under the radar with a lot of people is Matchstick Men.
Yeah.
Is another one that I really
Yes,
liked with
with
him
Sam Rockwell.
and Sam Rockwell. They're grifters, and I thought he did a really bang up job in that.
Sam Rockwell, you can't go wrong acting.
Oh, he's
he is
awesome.
just so good.
He's an amazing actor.
In 3 Billboards,
Yeah.
yeah, amazing.
I have not seen that.
Oh,
loved it.
Do yourself a favor,
Yeah.
man. It's hard.
It's one you
rough.
won't watch again, but watch
Yeah.
it once.
Yeah. Do
I
yourself
don't
a
need to
favor,
see it
man.
again.
It's good. Yeah.
Is it rough, like rough content?
No, it's just
A lot of language, but not. It's emotionally rough.
yeah.
Oh.
The
It's an
scope of
emotional roller
everything that
coaster, yeah.
happens
Gotcha.
is
Okay.
tough.
Yes, well, it's on my list.
Woody Harrelson is amazing.
Yes.
He's
He
gotten
just
better
cannot
in
go
his
wrong,
old
man.
age, man. I'm telling you, like his roles have he's progressively since Natural Born Killers, I think,
Yeah.
has progressively, and then there was Larry Flint. And he
Yeah.
just is, and then he kind of disappears.
Yeah, I'd say since True Detective.
True Detective.
Yeah,
good
He's just
night.
he's been
Killing
killing
it.
it.
Then he comes back in Hunger Games, and
Yeah.
killing it. Solo, he was the best part of Solo.
I still haven't seen Solo.
Oh, good for you.
Okay.
He was.
I
the
can't
best
bring
part in
myself
it.
to go
Lando
watch
was the
Solo.
best part in it,
Lando
unfortunately.
was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you? And looking at Amelia Clark was.
Amelia Clark and
Yeah,
imagine her naked. Yeah.
I didn't have to imagine her naked. Just looking at
Have you heard of the internet?
Have you seen Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
She's all but been penetrated.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to see her all but get penetrated,
Right.
to see her completely naked, then we're in Game of Thrones. Up until about season 4, then she keeps her clothes on.
How
we
dare her.
love you, Amelia. We are not being Harvey Weinstein. We love you. So, yeah, but Nick Cage has not done any good movies since Face Off.
Face Off is 97.
Matchstick Men, okay. The God of War, was it God of War?
God of
Man
War.
of War?
God of War. Lord of War.
Wasn't that good?
Lord of
Was
War.
that- if I remember correctly,
I
that
enjoyed
one
it.
was okay?
Yeah.
Him and Jared Leto?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an interesting movie.
Double cross kind of thing?
Yeah.
He did a fine job in it, but nothing over the top or
Right.
underwhelming. It was just right
And
there
then
in
he
the
just
middle.
disappeared. And then he filed for bankruptcy.
No, we did
I'm looking
two
at-
Ghost Rider movies. He did.
That's the end
He
of his
did a
career
bunch
right
of
there. I
huge
forgot
like
about
CGI.
I'm looking at
Like,
his
there's a
Nash-
movie.
at his
There's some
IMDb.
movie where he plays a psychic. I cannot remember. It's called Next. I
Oh,
think.
yeah, hold
Knowing.
on.
Knowing.
It was horrific.
Yeah.
He's got a nice like mullet.
National treasure.
Yeah.
Really rough.
That's what I'm looking at his IMDb page, and the last one that I know the name of the movie was 2007 National Treasure Book of Secrets.
Right.
That was the second. That was the sequel.
That was the sequel.
And now Knowing. Where was Knowing in there?
Then he followed it up with Bangkok Dangerous.
I've actually, yeah.
You actually own that one.
No, on the Thai movie it's based on. I don't own the.
You own. Oh, okay.
I do own
The Cage version.
Yeah, I don't own the Cage
Likely
version.
story.
He has a movie called Kick-Ass in 2002.
That was good.
Now, see, I'm
though.
saying, but he's not the star. There,
He's not the star.
He's a
That was
supporting
great.
actor.
Remember him being
Season of the Witch, I think you guys mentioned 2011.
Season of the Witch. I think that's a sword and sorcery movie like him and like Ron Perlman.
Yeah, because he was in Percy. Wasn't he a sorcerer in the Percy Jackson?
No, you're thinking of
Sorcerer's Apprentice
That's
in
it.
2010.
Yeah.
All these.
Well, I'm trying to
movies-
figure out when the last movie he was at that was in theaters.
All these movies.
Ghost
are
Rider, I
terrible.
guess, because that's 2011.
Yeah, that was god awful.
When was Ghost Rider 2 out?
Ghost Rider 2.
Why would they make it two? The first one was.
Is it called
Oh,
Pay
you
the
liked
Ghost?
it though, didn't you?
I didn't hate
Is
it.
it called Pay the Ghost?
No, it's just called Ghost Rider 2.
Okay.
You liked Ghost Rider too, huh?
I thought the original was okay.
I'm trying to struggle to remember it.
This was back before Marvel figured out.
Yeah, this-
Nick Cage was
the
not
system.
in Ghost Rider 2
Oh,
Oh,
because it's not on his list.
okay, never mind.
so there you go.
Right, I don't
So
know.
the first one was so bad that they actually replaced it.
Unless that's it. 2 is called Spirit of Vengeance.
That's
so
it. That's
that
it.
would
Ghost
have
Rider
been
Spirit of
2011.
Vengeance. Okay, yeah.
And then after
Never mind.
that, it's all downhill.
Okay, so Spirit of Vengeance, like the second Ghost Rider was probably the last big movie he had in the theater.
So then a bunch of
So the last 7 years he's been putting out direct-to-video movies.
direct to video movies. Him and Tom Sizemore, and then he comes back with Mandy,
Yep.
which unfortunately, even though it will bring him back on the backside of Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's not going. I don't think it's going to garner him new fans.
He's not going to get an
because
Academy
this-
Award nomination.
right? And this film is an acquired taste.
Oh,
But
yeah. Yeah.
he's back. I would like to have seen the conversation between his agent and him when he said, "Hey, look, we got this. I think this is the one."
Right. Yeah.
He has 12 movies in the works since he did Mandy.
Yeah.
12 credits after that.
I don't think he cares, and
His
that's what
ex-wife's got to eat.
That's what I appreciate about him. I don't think he really gives a shit whether we like what he's
No.
doing or not. He wanted to do this movie. He did this movie, and he did a fantastic job.
Yeah,
I don't think the paycheck or getting back into Hollywood had anything to do with
right.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you probably looked at it and was like, dude, cool. Demons.
LSD, like,
six
I'm
lines
in.
of dialogue,
Yeah.
some cocaine, and a
Some
freaking
fight scenes.
big old, like, what was that?
Yeah.
That, like, Carillion silver axe, sword that he built.
Yeah.
That was
Looks like he
like
bought it
the
from a Klingon yard sale.
Yeah. And what's funny is that movie is so crazy and great
Yeah.
that even now, like, after watching it twice, I still don't question
No.
that at all.
No. Yeah, he forges an axe like Conan's dad. And you're like, yeah, that could happen.
That could happen.
Yeah.
He's got his glasses on and the music's kicking and he's pouring the lead and you're
Yeah.
this is happening
Yeah.
and I'm okay with it.
It's like he can't just go down to the Home Depot and
No.
forge his own weapon out of just stuff
Yeah.
from there. He's going to pour his own metal. and
Yeah, like
stuff.
if you went and just got an axe with a fiberglass handle, that would be boring.
Right.
You know.
Well, and you just don't. The movie's so good and entertaining, you don't question it.
No, it exists in its own universe.
Yeah.
Like it almost seems like there should be like almost a Marvel universe of movies that take place in this entire world.
God, that'd be awesome.
Like you have a movie about the mutant
I could do
bikers.
Mandy too.
You know, not even, I would say that just like those bikers. Like that's a whole movie.
Oh yeah.
That
You know.
religious
And
sect.
the
It's
horn
all
and all
its
that
own
stuff.
thing.
Yeah.
Really
And,
unique.
but this will be the only movie that ever exists. You know, it's almost like
yeah.
but it's enough because
enough.
it really is. I loved it, but then again, it's like a horror revenge movie that takes place in the early '80s. Parts of it look like a comic from Heavy Metal magazine. You know, it's basically it's a movie made for me. I'm actually surprised other people like it as much as they do.
Wow.
You know, because I just like weird shit.
Well, I like weird shit too. And
Yeah.
I like this weird shit.
Yeah.
And some weird stuff I don't like. Some of
Right.
it goes like you and I disagree on some movies. Not
Right,
many,
absolutely,
but
yeah.
some I'm like, and you're like, oh, dude, it's great. You're crazy. So, and Doug too. Doug and I
Right.
go back years and years and years of watching movies. where I'm like, I'll send him. We always text because we're on completely different schedules. He'll say, "You must see this."
Yeah.
And I'll text him and say, "You must see this."
Yeah.
And then we'll follow up. Did you like? And every
Yeah.
now and then it's And
Yeah.
I'm like, Dude,
Yeah.
I ain't freaking
Oh,
love that
it's so
movie.
disappointing when people do that. It's so disappointing because you're so amped for somebody to love it like you do.
Yeah.
And then when they just like,
It was okay.
it was okay.
was okay.
It's so disappointing.
Sorry, man. It was just meh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So, well, speaking of movies that are entertaining and you completely don't question
Yeah.
any of its credibility.
Another movie that takes place in its own reality.
Yes, is our Midnight Drive-In revisit, and that is Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
Yes.
Roadhouse.
You don't question
No.
where the police are
Nope.
in Jasper, Missouri.
Yep.
You don't question how much money. What's his name?
Brad Wesley.
Yeah, Brad
Gazzara.
Wesley's making in a small town.
Yeah.
You don't question how busy this place is every night.
How this man is just making
middle of
millions
nowhere.
of dollars on. Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere.
And how the whole town is affording to drink
Yeah.
when he's taking all their money.
Right. Exactly. He takes like 10% of every business's profits, and yet they have money to just go out and get hammered every night.
However, it is the number 12th best movie on my list.
Right.
And it's a movie that I could watch it could probably loop on a 12-hour edit session. It could probably loop 6 times,
Yeah.
and I would be okay.
It's amazing. It's one of, like a lot of people say, it's one of those movies that's so bad it's good. I completely disagree with that. I
It's
just
so
think
good it's bad?
I just think it's good. Like people say like it's goofy, but it's a movie about a bouncer who comes in and cleans up a town. Like,
right.
It don't get no better than that.
How is that going to like? What were they expecting? Like,
Right. Right, and Rowdy Harrington, the director,
Yeah.
even said, we choreographed these fights to be kind of like a Keystone Cop melee. Like
Right.
We wanted it to be
Yeah,
a
it's
little
over the
bit-
top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
over the top and ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it totally makes sense. You don't question any of it.
No.
Was Patrick Swayze a kickboxer before doing
No,
this?
he's
or
just a
did he-
dancer. I don't think he had like.
kinda
This
flows
was
together,
right
I
after
guess.
Dirty Dancing.
Right. I think he'd probably done a couple movies that had fight scenes, but he wasn't a trained fighter. No, like the guy who plays the Ben Gazzara's henchman, the guy who gets his throat ripped out. That guy is like a stunt guy and probably done a million fights.
Of course, Sam Elliott had done a million
Right,
westerns. and-
exactly. But no, the fights were choreographed by Benny the Jet Urquidez, who just he was a full contact kickboxer. Like when fights went from like tournaments, like you see at the end of Karate Kid, to actual full contact fights, he was one of those first guys, like Don the Dragon Wilson and all those guys.
Sweep
Yeah.
the leg.
Yeah, and
Well, some fun facts of this movie is they all choreographed. They did their own stunts.
Yeah.
There were no stunt men.
yeah,
And in fact, during that scene, the Patrick Swayze scene fighting Charlie or Jimmy, fighting Jimmy.
yeah,
On day number 3, they were actually physically removing fluid from his
I don't doubt.
knee.
Yeah,
Because it had become so brutal that
Right.
they were physically on the fly to finish the scene.
yeah.
And Patrick Swayze had at one point said that he didn't know if he was going to live through the shooting
Right, yeah.
of the movie.
Exactly. Doing a fight scene once or twice is, not bad, but to do it like 30 times,
Oh, yeah.
you get injured doing that.
I wonder if Patrick Swayze looked back fondly on that movie after it was
I'm going to say he did because I was reading something the other day. Because of the knee injury, was it Predator 2 he had to turn down? But because of that, he ended up waiting because he was injured. That's what led to him being offered Ghost. Because that was the biggest hit of his career. Which I think was maybe the second highest grossing movie of that year. Was it 1990?
it was
So
huge.
if his knee hadn't been injured, if they
He would have
hadn't,
done that dud.
he would have done Predator 2 or some other movie.
He would have been done.
And then man, his career might have went totally differently.
It may have.
Yeah.
It may have. I thought it was funny. Another funny fact, speaking of during the fight scene with Jimmy, not only were they removing fluid from his knee, but in the middle of some of these takes, a canoe full of ladies
Right.
trying to gawk Patrick Swayze would come
Oh,
into
yeah.
frame. They were sneaking in on canoes.
Oh, yeah, after Dirty Dancing, he was the most famous guy on earth. And something else I think is that there's probably another actor like this, but it probably goes back 30, 40 years. Guys who are into, like a lot of guys I know who like Patrick, it's just about Roadhouse and Point Break. Like, those are the movies they love.
Absolutely.
And a lot of women, it's just about Ghost and Dirty Dancing and other movies.
You're
But
right.
he's like the ultimate movie star in a lot of ways because he can just be in any type of movie.
Wait for it. Best
True.
line from Point Break. I am an FBI
FBI
agent. Keanu.
Yeah, but he was,
I actually enjoyed. You'll probably scowl at me, but I enjoyed Next to Kin.
next again, that was the only movie my dad owned on DVD.
See, there you go.
Yeah, he
It's
bought-
Patrick Swayze, man.
We need to do a viewing of that one. I did not see that one.
It's not a bad movie. No, it's
What was that good stuff? He was doing a show when he died.
The Beast.
The Beast.
Yeah, I love that
Yes.
show.
Did you see any of that?
He was
Never
like
saw
a
The Beast.
crooked FBI agent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that show, and he was going through like
could
chemo.
tell,
Like
you could tell.
he gets skinnier throughout the show, and but he was really good in it.
I'll tell you another movie that I like that's not on necessarily Swayze's popular list. Donnie Darko. He had a secondary role in that movie, and he
Did
was
he?
fantastic. Fantastic.
Why do I not remember that? That's a good movie for
Yeah,
this.
he's,
podcast.
What was that movie?
2001, 2002, yeah, somewhere around
That
there.
was one of that. You love that movie.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Killer.
Yeah,
You
he plays a
really
completely different type of character.
Yeah,
I don't really want to go into it because it's sort of
Yeah.
it's I don't say a surprise, but
Yeah, it's
unexpected.
It's not what you would
Yeah.
think once it's revealed.
We should do that movie.
Yeah, that's a very weird movie.
That's
Very
a
good movie.
I'm
man.
sure. Yeah, I'm sure you haven't seen that.
No,
movie.
I have not.
I haven't seen it in a long time, and I think the last time I saw it, I was inebriated years back.
It's something. It's
Yeah, I don't think that would help with that movie because you really do have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they, anyway, going back to Roadhouse, it's just, I don't know, man. There was like a feeling. What was that? 1989.
Mm-hmm.
That was like cute. I was what, 15?
going through puberty.
Yeah.
and just seeing
man.
these guys fight, and it's like they're
like-
drinking liquor and all
And
this.
also-
This is awesome. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Dude, some of the best lines ever out of that.
And also, like we were talking about last week about the late Burt Reynolds. Like Burt Reynolds had a thing where, like, a lot of movie stars who are like super handsome, a lot of guys don't like, or they pretend like they don't like them because like their wives think they're handsome. Burt Reynolds was like, Patrick Swayze was similar, where women wanted to be with them and guys wanted to hang out with them. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
All-purpose movie stars.
All-purpose movie star. Well,
Yeah.
that was definitely Patrick Swayze. I think it's great. Another fact: the police, California police, the guys were during training were falling asleep during the lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually started playing the scene where he comes in and he says, "Be nice." They actually used that scene where they introduced Dalton to everybody and he's firing him.
Yeah.
They use that in actual training.
Right.
Be nice until it's time not to be nice.
That's. I mean, like I said, it's simple, but that's not bad advice.
And the greatest thing ever.
There's probably a lot of people who need to learn that.
Yes. What's crazy though, Annette Bening was supposed to be Kelly
Right.
Lynch.
Yeah.
I can't even.
Can't imagine.
I can't even see that.
No, I
That'd
can't
be like
imagine
somebody
doing that.
telling me that Mark Hamill was supposed to be Indiana Jones.
Right, yeah.
There's no other Indiana Jones.
No.
So there's no other.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing. I can't even imagine.
And she's just a completely different type of actor than
Yeah.
someone who would be in this movie. She's so like serious, I guess.
Yeah, very serious.
Yeah.
And she's not blonde, not that matters, but like Kelly Lynch is tall, all legs.
Yeah.
That she was.
She looks like the
Roadhouse.
female Patrick Swayze.
Yes.
Yeah.
She looked like she was supposed to be in her.
Yeah, exactly.
Annette Bening doesn't.
No.
They fit
But I think
together
it's-
like a hand in a glove.
I think it's funny. It's apparently there's some lore. Mitch Glazer, which is Kelly Lynch's husband,
Screenwriter, yeah.
screenwriter, wrote Scrooged.
Yep.
He's good friends with Bill Murray and what's his brother's name?
Brian Doyle.
Brian Doyle.
Yeah.
And every time Roadhouse comes on, or they're in a hotel room and
Yeah.
it's on USA or whatever.
Yeah.
Bill
TNT.
Murray and his brother
Yeah.
call Mitch Glazer and say, "Hey man, I'm like sitting here watching Patrick Swayze bang your wife," and apparently they do it anywhere.
Yeah.
It was said that at one point Bill Murray was in Japan or something where it was the opposite time, and he called in the middle of the night and he said, "I'm watching your wife bang Patrick Swayze
In Japan.
Bill Murray actually co-owns the minor league team, baseball team
Charleston,
in Charleston.
River Dogs.
And my brother went to school in Charleston. And he said Bill Murray was famous for just going up to people and hugging them and whispering in their ear, "They will never believe you," and just walking away.
He lives in Charleston.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a big guy down there.
Yeah, he's loving his celebrity now because he can just he like crashes
He's like a
wedding
myth.
parties and stuff.
Yeah.
People will be having their wedding and then he'll walk in. They'll,
Yeah.
"Oh my god!"
That's awesome. That's good. Well, yep. So our revisit Roadhouse, my 12th favorite movie of all time.
You've never seen it. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah, just
Don't
see
listen
it
to all
once.
the talk about it, all the modern talk about it. Put yourself in a 14-year-old, 15-year-old's frame of mind and go watch Swayze kick some ass.
Absolutely.
Because he absolutely does.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, don't try to have all kinds of realistic expectations in your head when you watch the movie. Just let art flow over you.
Yeah.
And Sam Elliott, is also amazing in it.
He is.
Yeah.
It's one
Damn,
of his
that
best.
hurts, doesn't it?
Best mustache maybe
yeah.
of all time.
Yep.
What's he say? What? Yeah, it's amazing what you can get used to. And Sam Elliott's like, "Yeah, you wouldn't believe the place I'm working at. There's a sign in the bathroom that says, 'Don't eat the white mint.'"
Like the latest movie that Sam Elliott did, his most recent film, one of his best lines is someone asks him what kind of coffee it is, and he goes, "It's Folgers." Just the way he says it, it's like, oh, he's the guy behind
Well, he
Folgers.
said, it's funny. He said that all the movies he's done, Lonesome Dove and everything, he is most known for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Roadhouse?
Yep.
Wow.
He's
That's probably
most
the
known
movie
for that.
most people talk to him about.
A lot of people, if you talk to Sam Elliott,
Yeah.
like women, older women,
Yeah.
they say, "Oh my gosh, Sam Elliott in Roadhouse."
Not
Yeah.
the Big Lebowski.
No. Not to cut his hair, man. But I mean, it was just it's a different kind of movie, but it may be bad. It won.
I don't think so.
It won raspberries for
that doesn't
worst
matter.
movie. And
Those people can fuck off.
Those raspberry people.
Yeah. By the way, if anybody listening who votes for the Raspberry Award, you can go from Lee Bridges. You can go choke on a barrel of dick.
And that's the truth, Ruth. All right, well, good then. All right, great. Well,
Speaking of dick,
speaking of dick,
We're going to come back to Sam Elliott. Was also when Ghost Rider, the first one, he rode with Nick Cage.
how about that?
he's
Full
the cowboy
circle.
Ghost
He's
Rider.
the cowboy Ghost Rider.
He was like the old West Ghost
There's our big circle.
Yep, and unfortunately, that one was not near as good as Roadhouse.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right. That's the full
Yeah.
circle.
There we go.
All right, Lee, you got us a rental.
I do.
You got us a rental.
It's a
this week.
movie just recently released, maybe 2 weeks ago. I rented it on Redbox, and it's a movie. Actually, it's another revenge movie that it's a pro hallucinogenic revenge movie.
Oh,
This may be the only pro peyote movie I've ever seen.
oh yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And it's just called Revenge.
Yep.
And it's actually the type of film I don't necessarily care for. I love all types of genre and exploitation movies, horror films, martial arts films. Rape revenge films are films I've never, like I think I've seen I Spit on Your Grave once and never watched it again. No need to. Mark would not like that movie. But this film is, I hate this because it was directed by a woman. So I don't want to say it's a rape revenge film that is, the rape is almost completely off screen.
Right.
Oh,
yeah,
you see a few glimpses of it, but it's not explicit in any way.
But the
Aftermath.
the assumed that
Yeah.
when, and I don't want to give anything away, but when the one dude comes out
Yeah.
and he's eating the cereal and
Yeah.
you can hear it.
Yeah.
The audio
Yeah.
is
It's-
terrible.
yeah, it really
it's
is.
terrible. And I'm like that, and that's one of those times that you were talking about with like Hitchcock, the presumed doom that's happening. That was a great
Yeah,
way
the
to
audio.
do it
Yeah,
without showing
it's an excellently well made movie. It's an English language movie. It's a French film that's in English.
Yes.
I guess would be the best way to put it. I guess they go to the Spanish desert to hunt.
Is it subtitled?
No. Well, they only talk in French for like 5 minutes.
It's three rich married men, and they rent a house, or he owns a house. I couldn't figure out what.
I think it's in the Spanish desert.
Yeah, in the Spanish desert. They come. One of them brings his mistress.
His mistress, yeah.
And she is very, very pleasing.
Yeah, she is.
And she's very flirtatious.
She's probably too beautiful to be in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And but she's also great in the movie.
Yes.
And she, like I said, very flirtatious, very fun, just a party girl. She wants to be an actress, wants to be a model, and her boyfriend.
She decides to flirt with his friends.
Right,
as well.
Dance with him a little bit. Which a girl from her world, she goes to clubs all the time. That's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
But this guy, this sort of very short, unattractive French guy who probably, women never come on to him. He takes that absolutely the wrong way. Yep. And when she's alone one day, he takes advantage of her. And like I said, it's completely off screen. I guess I don't want to say it's tastefully done, but it's respectfully done.
It's respectfully done.
Very violently takes advantage.
He does, and
I wouldn't even say that, but it's just the way it's done. You already just have to watch the movie. I don't want to give it away,
right? But
from there, things completely unravel.
Yeah,
Boyfriend comes back, and you think, "Oh, we're gonna have huge issues." Instead, boyfriend's more worried about
his wife finding out.
So they decide to do something different that blows up in their face.
Yeah.
And that blows up in their face.
Right.
And then we have this movie.
And she basically becomes a completely different person.
Yes.
She's
forced to.
She's forced to.
Which is what rape does to a woman.
Right. And that and the other circumstances. Like she's more. She gets the movie's called Revenge for a reason. That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah. She gets revenge, and it's. The action scenes are really well done.
It's not on the caliber of Count of Monte Cristo Revenge, but it's
it's intense.
It's intense.
And it's believable. Everything that's done.
That is something I was wanting to touch on because there is almost a violence learning curve in the movie. She gets a gun and she doesn't even know how to load it.
Yeah.
But when the first time she fires it, it completely knocks her on her ass. She falls down, and that's like you see her learn.
By the end, she's like a freaking assassin.
She really is. And
there's one, man. Oh my god, that scene and
with the cellophane?
No, the foot.
Oh my god!
Oh my!
The foot! Oh my
I
god!
was like, make it stop!
I wanted it to be over so bad, and I love violent movies.
You must see it, Doug. You can appreciate.
I love violent movies and that's a really smart. Talking about the learning curve. When she does that with the glass, and like I said, not trying to give anything away, and it was so painful to watch. Like I was literally squirming in my seat.
Yeah,
more painful than Extremities. Huh?
It was
Did you ever see
everything was about it,
Extremities?
and then the final, the climactic end.
Oh yeah,
is
and this is the movie. This goes by the Roger Corman idea. Well, once the monster's dead, the movie's over. Yeah. It doesn't hang around. There's no there's no flash forward to 6 months later where she's
Where she's good again. It's like that. The resolve is the resolve.
It's over. And it's like 90 minutes.
Perfect.
Perfect length for a genre movie.
There's no lingering on her as to whether or not she got closure from doing this to this guy.
She didn't get closure. There's no closure. No. It's a very extreme movie, but not. I wouldn't say it's. I think the violence is in line with the tone of the movie. There's nothing I thought. Well, that shouldn't have been in there. Like it's a very well made movie.
And I don't want. This is going.
I hope this like the director.
You can't in this day and age with #MeToo.
Right.
You almost can't. You can't say. You almost can't say anything.
Right.
But I would like to say, without anybody calling me sexist, the fact that a young woman.
Yeah.
Wrote and directed this.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, women do write and direct great films.
Right.
Catherine Bigelow.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But this movie, as gory and as crazy as it is, I appreciate.
And it also feels like
put the blood in there.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you can, beyond it being directed, you can tell it's directed by a movie fan.
Yes.
And that's the thing. And I do, like you're saying, I'm appreciating that there are now these, like, you go watch back Peter Jackson's early movies. You can tell those are just, insane movies made by a guy who loves movies. It has that sort of feeling to it. Like, you can feel her fanhood in the movie. And I've enjoyed the crap out of it.
It'll be one to check.
Like I said, it's available at Redbox. I'm sure it's available on Amazon and
just called simply
Revenge.
I watched it on Shudder. It's the best
It's
$5 you'll spend.
There we
all
go.
month.
Yeah, for what you pay to rent it, for about 50 cents more than you'll probably pay to rent it, you can have a subscription to Shudder for a month. And yet, this movie and hundreds of other movies, TV shows, documentaries.
Oh yeah,
and
that's great.
This is a free commercial for Revenge and for Shudder. This is actually the highest. This movie actually it almost shut down the servers on Shudder. It was so people were just it's their biggest hit movie because I think they helped distribute it. They helped fund it a little bit, yeah, and distribute it.
The director's name is Corley Fargeets.
Right.
And yeah, man, it's good. There
Yeah.
she is.
Oh, she looks like a badass.
Must check it
She
out.
is.
Like I say, it's not. I mean, you've seen it before,
Right, like, but we're talking
it's
about it's the execution.
The execution of it is
Yeah, like
fantastic.
because like we said, we just talked about a revenge movie earlier, Mandy, which is unlike any other revenge movie. This goes in a completely different direction, but it's she's as badass as any character I've seen in 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
and there's a she grows into it.
she grows into that's what I realized seeing her learn when she was
Desperation,
desperation, like when
rises,
she figured stuff out, like how to when she gets injured, how to deal with that, and how to learn how to do the weapon. I just thought that was really well done because a lot of revenge movies, you have some guy, he's like a mailman, and his wife gets killed, and all of a sudden he's Liam Neeson and Taken 30 seconds later. This is it's a much more, even though the movie's very stylized, but emotionally it's very realistic.
Yes, it is, and I'm sure back on hashtag Me Too, it's very relevant.
It is,
right,
and
now.
obviously it was made, shot and written before that, but it just happened to
is
come
why
out.
it's so popular.
It came out at the exact right moment.
Yeah.
It really did.
It really did. Yep. So see it. It's called Revenge.
I would be interested, like if there's
Shudder.com,
any female listeners, which is unlikely, but if you happen to see it, tell us what you think on Twitter or on Facebook if you happen to watch this.
Yes,
movie.
ladies, if you watch,
I'd love to hear that.
Yes, if you watch the film, hit us up. Let us know what you think. It's great. Well, all right, Halloween's around the bend. Speaking of movies that maybe children can watch, because
Right.
they definitely can't watch Revenge.
No, should they?
Or Mandy.
Now, if my daughter was
Roadhouse.
if my daughter was 18, I wouldn't want her to watch
Yeah.
Revenge.
Yeah, we were talking about Cannibal Holocaust. And
Right.
So, of course, my son is a huge movie buff, and
Yeah.
he was talking about goriest movies, and I'm like, well, it's funny that you say that. We were just talking about this.
Yeah.
It's Cannibal Holocaust. And he was like, how old will I need to be to watch that?
37.
I said, there is no age.
Yeah.
I'm 57 and I'm still not old enough
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah.
Until
I would swat it out of Mark's hand.
No, you don't want to watch this. So, but all right. So Halloween's coming. What is?
Right.
And I'm not talking about The Corpse's Bride,
Right.
and Paranorman. All those are fantastic
Yeah, great.
films.
Yeah.
What if you want to dance on the line?
Right.
Of what?
I have a few films. I would say Monster Squad. Although that's got some 80s stuff in it that's probably... But there's another movie from that. It's called Lady in White. It's a ghost movie. I think I mentioned it last week.
Oh, yeah.
And it stars Lucas Haas when he was very young. And it's a little boy gets trapped in school overnight and encounters the ghost of a girl who was murdered there like 20 years before. And he basically tries to solve this little girl's murder. And there's a killer in the town he lives in. And basically there's another ghost, sort of urban legend of the Lady in White, who's this... The little girl ghost he saw, the Lady in White, is her mother. She killed herself after her daughter died. So basically, he's trying to resolve these two ghosts, trauma. And it's not explicit in any way. I don't even think it has swearing in it. It's made about 87, 88.
What?
Yeah. The
How
Lady in
movie's
White.
that?
I don't know. Your son will probably think it's fake, but it has that, gives you that same feeling of like when you watch the Charlie Brown Halloween special. It feels it's not a scary movie, but it's like a Halloween movie.
And Monster Squad.
Monster
Squad's great, but my kid for sure will think that's fake.
Right.
And
trying to think of something
it's
else.
a little bit non-politically correct.
Right.
at this
Yeah.
stage.
Yeah.
The word fag is used
Like 5 times. Yeah.
I would recommend anything by Vincent Price.
Right. I was actually watching.
Come on,
I was watching.
Snooze Fest. My kids, I hate that.
No.
Oliver liked something like House of what was it? The House of Wax.
House of Wax.
I mean, what do you like any of the? If you did the Bela Lugosi Dracula, you pop that in. What do you sit and watch?
He's not going to sit and watch anything.
I don't think. Okay, I wouldn't start with Bela Lugosi Dracula because first of all, it's not a very good movie. As much as I love horror movies, it's like 60 minutes long. It's like watching a play. It's basically the first American horror movie, and it wasn't. I would start with something like, I don't know if you even show a kid a Vincent Price movie. Like, I loved Vincent Price movies when I was a kid. But again,
awesome.
they were on TV all the time.
Yeah, but
Right.
that was
30.
changed.
That was 35 years
Yeah,
ago.
it was. There was
So,
a little bit more,
I don't really even know. Like, my suggestions of Lady in White, and I don't even know. Like, your kid might just hate that movie. So, like,
The original Poltergeist. I mean, the special effects aren't that great, but outside of that, I mean, I think it was only rated a PG-13. I want to say it's not there's not a terrible amount of language. There is some 80s stuff. There's some drug use and this, that, and the other, but nothing I think that can't be easily explained. It still scares the hell out of me when I think about that movie and think about being a kid watching that movie.
That lady.
yeah.
Oh, the lady, and at the end when fall into that dugout swimming pool, and
the
all the
corpses come up.
I mean, it's creepy.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, they moved the headstones, but they left the bodies.
Yeah, and the boy, and
Yeah, when he peels his face away.
peeling his face.
Oh,
and,
yes.
Yeah.
It looks funny and fakeish to somebody 10, 11, 12 years old today, but for me, when I was that age,
Think about it as a kid.
that
watching.
was really creepy, and it still is.
Yeah.
Still is.
See, but I don't know. Then you mentioned the other week how your kids got freaked out at the mention of the Michael Myers mask.
Yeah.
But so who knows what kids find scary? I mean, I really don't know.
You think kids would like things like Baby Jane, Rosemary's Baby, or Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte,
I don't think
the
so.
Betty Davis classics?
I don't think so.
What was that? I love that stuff. I just know. I've got 5.
Yeah.
I've got 5, and they laughed out loud at A Princess Bride when
Right.
the big rat came out.
Yeah.
My son, in the middle of Raiders of the Lost Ark, looked over and said, "Fake. This is fake."
Yeah.
What
was
blasphemy.
I have never. Ever,
Oh, it was the boulder.
I've never ever thought about giving up my parental rights.
Yeah.
Or dropping him off in an orphanage.
Yeah.
But
Drop him
it
off.
actually flashed.
Because isn't that movie on the top of your list?
That's the top.
That's
Yes.
the top.
Yeah.
And for you to say fake.
You were doing it in your head how far away a fire station is you could drop him off at.
Yeah,
Like,
I bought him Blu-ray.
Right.
The Star Wars, the first.
yeah,
3.
the originals.
Yeah, the originals on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
They're still in the freaking plastic. He doesn't care.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
But he'll sneak. He will risk it all.
Okay, how
and
about-
rent The Conjuring 2.
Okay, what about if you told him? What if you told him picked out a movie and you told him that he might not be able to handle it, but you were going to give it a shot? But something like Poltergeist, something you think he could handle, and make it almost like he shouldn't be seeing it. Because I think that's what it is. Because I remember when my mom and dad rented the Stallone movie Cobra, they told me I could not watch it.
Is that the one with the toothpick?
Yeah,
He's walking
and
around.
when he came, when I went down and he put the guy, I was they're watching at my older sister's house, and I was probably 5 years old, 5 or 6, and I was at the top of the stairs, kind of watching it through the railing when he puts the guy on the hook and then lights him on fire at the end, the killer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was like, I don't know what that is, but I love it, and it was almost because I wasn't supposed to be watching it, and also maybe it's just because I'm a giant weirdo.
Who knows? It's like the difference between the Beatles and Kanye West. I don't get Kanye West at all, but I love the Beatles.
Yeah, it's just a different world.
It's a generational gap that,
Yeah.
for what we lived through and the time that we're our kids' age, those are things that are always going to be close to our heart. I can name plenty of movies that came out in 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, around in there, that I'll always love.
Yeah.
And even earlier than that. And they're going to be films for these kids that are going to be the same.
Yeah.
We don't know what they're going to be, and we can't put our classics on them if they don't.
Yeah. If I showed my niece Kroll,
Yeah.
she would laugh in my face.
Yeah.
She'd be like, "What is this garbage you're watching?" You know.
I'm going to say, you must sit here and watch Casablanca.
When we talk about Clash of the Titans.
Yeah, exactly. If I showed them Clash of the Titans, which is the first movie I remember watching, like you know,
Oh,
and
the greatest thing ever.
and I they would just be like, "What is this?" You know.
Oh, it had some of the wildest special effects. Give us back the eye.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so I don't like this. It's a generational thing. I don't know. Maybe there are scary YouTube channels they like. I don't know what kids are into.
My son likes the zombie stuff.
Right.
None of the zombie stuff is. I couldn't even imagine breaking out Return of the Living Dead, or
Yeah.
Night of the Living Dead, the black and white one,
Right.
the first one, and going.
I'm trying to think of a zombie
Enjoy
movie that
this.
might be appropriate. Yeah.
And why does
You're
Rob
just-
Zombie not do zombie movies?
Crickets.
Sorry, it's a question that got them. It just went over their head.
Well, it's because he can't do normal movies.
Uh,
I don't know.
I'm trying to think of a zombie movie that would be appropriate for.
There is none.
Yeah. I don't know.
There are none.
Yeah.
28 days later?
I watched, and I shouldn't have, but we did, the film with Will Smith,
I Am Legend?
I Am Legend.
Right.
It's good.
And I was pretty nervous about him watching it. I had seen it before, but I couldn't remember a whole lot of details about it. I couldn't remember how gory it was. It really wasn't that bad, and he thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It wasn't the zombies, though, or the whatever.
Yeah, they're CGI zombies.
That,
so.
that he loved. He loved the character that
Yeah.
Will Smith played. He's like, I like that guy. And then after that, it was like, what else is he in, Daddy? So we went down the list, and it's like Independence Day, and Ali, and he'll watch anything that has Will Smith.
Yeah.
Even 7 pounds,
No.
which is one of his best.
Yeah.
I love 7 pounds.
But it's sometimes it's just who's in it, not what's going on. At least from my boy's point of view.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so then there you go.
This just makes me glad I don't have kids.
Yeah, there you go. Kids, parents, no Halloween movies. Stick to the animation. Hotel Transylvania.
There you go.
He loves that too.
Speaking of Halloween movies,
Yes. So we're going to be at on the 21st, Sunday the 21st of October. We're going to be at Golden Ticket Cinema in Lenoir, North Carolina. We're actually going to watch the new Halloween, and we are going to do the podcast live from the lobby there. And we're either going to rip it apart or we're going to praise it like we did this movie. Mark has never seen any Halloween movies.
this is true.
He's only seen one Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is actually probably good. You can watch the second one. But today we're going to give him Halloween, the first one, to watch.
The DVD.
So that he's
Thank
called
you.
up for this.
Well, before this podcast, what was the last horror film you watched?
The Birds. When he
Before
was
this
11.
oh
Yeah.
man,
I was just wondering.
would that? What's the silent movie? The one where no one talks?
Oh, A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that considered
Is
a
that
horror movie?
Did you like that?
I think it is
Really?
because it's got monsters eating
Right.
people.
Oh,
and
it's
stuff.
Seriously?
I think it's in the ballpark.
A Quiet Place. That would have been the last
Okay.
one at the theater that I saw. Yeah.
Really? You
And I
didn't
really
like
liked it.
Right.
Wow.
I hated the ending, but I liked the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was me. It was okay for a while, but the way that it kind of went towards the end, I'll never watch it again.
Yeah, I'll never watch
They're
it
making a
again, but I
second
enjoyed
one.
it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
enjoyed
it
the
picks
movie.
up
but-
right from there. Like it picks
Yeah.
up. I figured you would like that.
No, I did too. I was
I thought it was okay.
I was pretty
Is that a
disappointed.
horror movie?
I wouldn't say it's a horror movie.
Thriller.
But it's a thriller.
Thriller.
Okay, so
Yeah.
last horror movie.
Yeah.
No.
So that doesn't qualify.
Sweeney
Okay.
Todd.
I did see Sweeney Todd at the theater, and I was disappointed because I like the stage version so much better.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? That was a masterpiece.
No, it sucked because I like Stephen Sondheim's music, and it did not showcase his music enough. So and to me, that's
You
the
had
big part
Johnny
about it.
Depp doing it. It was great.
I know, he
Johnny
can't
Depp
sing- he can't sing Sondheim,
You're
you know.
right, but I love that.
Sondheim is hard to sing, but and he just can't do it. The movie didn't focus on the music enough.
Theater aristocrat over here.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, no, and
it's
I
just the
agree.
stage version is much better than the movie. So.
Well, sure, of course, absolutely. But as far as the movie goes,
I'll give a plug to Chuck Yoder, a local actor around here who epitomizes Sweeney Todd. He's played the character 4 times in local productions around here because he is that character. Johnny Depp is no Chuck Yoder.
I've always said that. How hungry would you have to be to eat one of those meat pies? I'd have to be almost starving. That looked like the grossest shit imaginable.
Yeah. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite Tim Burton movies.
And that's another thing. I don't like Tim Burton at all either.
Oh my God! So. That's it. We are done for the night.
This is the last episode of.
Get the soap and the blanket out.
Speaking of both, Oliver and I the other night watched Edward Scissorhands for the first time. He'd never seen it, and it had been probably 10 plus years since I'd seen it, and it's still fantastic.
Oh yeah,
it's timeless.
Did he like it?
Oh, he loved it.
I would say that and Ed Wood are probably his. They're his most Tim Burton movies.
Oh yeah, Ed Wood's my favorite.
Yeah.
He'll always be my favorite.
Ed Wood's a Tim Burton movie?
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, so there you go, pal. Coming here talking about Tim Burton.
Now Chuck Yoder played.
Yeah,
Chuck Yoder is Sweeney Todd.
Chuck Yoder is Sweeney Todd. Well, Tim Burton would probably have.
I'll have to get Chuck to listen to this podcast.
Yes. I just lost my train of thought. But yes, my kids like Edward Scissorhands too. And they watched Beetlejuice, and I'm like, oh, it's good. Hey, it's great. Carrie's like, you sure it's good? Oh, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
And then he comes out, and he's like, nice fucking model. Bang, bang. And I was like, stop.
Did Tim Burton do Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
Yes.
I liked it.
See?
Yeah.
You just need some culture, man. I bet he did a lot of, let's see.
There's a lot of stuff, though, that I did not like. So.
Well, his
Mars
animation.
Attacks.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Best ever.
When Jack Black is running at the aliens and he pulls and the clip falls out of the gun, I can't stop from laughing. Because he just runs at him and just pulls the trigger and the clip falls out. It's like something out of a Marx Brothers movie.
It's so ironic. What's so great is it's almost like the best part was Jack Nicholson and Rod Steiger. And Rod's like, they are going to kill us. We have to act now. And everybody's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. And he's like, we have to act. And then finally he's like, can we have peace? And he just...
Yeah.
It's the greatest ever.
Yeah.
And like Tom Jones comes out and did it, and then things start exploding.
Yeah.
Dude, the movie's, it is what it is.
Right, yeah. But it's a movie based on a trading card set. I mean, it's the best movie based on a trading card set ever.
Absolutely.
How many are those?
Oh, just one. So it's also the worst one, but anyway.
All right, so quick, let's get we never did rate Mandy. Give us a grade. Give me a grade on
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Yep.
I'm going to go a little higher, 8.5. I just find it to be just absolutely, if you're a film lover, if you like cinematography, if you like the aesthetics of watching movies, the soundtrack to it is perfect. It's beautiful. You might not love the movie itself, the content, but
you'll find something like it.
Yeah, you can't dispute the art, and it is true art.
I'll give it a 7.5 just because of the soundtrack and the cinematography. Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 9. I liked it that much.
This and Low Life they're in the race for my favorite movie of the year.
Really?
Yeah. So far.
All right. Well, Low Life is fantastic.
That's what I need to say.
Since we've been doing this podcast, I've been jamming 5 movies in a week.
Yeah.
I can't even keep up anymore. They're it's movies all the time.
Right, yeah.
So I don't even remember. What's your favorite movie? I don't know. Which one? I saw 6 this week.
Yeah.
All right, well, that'll conclude our show this week. Thanks, guys, for coming over.
We'll see everybody on the 21st.
Yeah, we'll be at Golden Ticket Cinemas doing the live Halloween podcast. We'll have one more episode before that, and we will be looking forward to hearing how Mark enjoyed John Carpenter's Halloween.
Yep.
All right.
And on the 21st, if you loved Hereditary, come argue about it with us there. No, I'm just kidding.
Doug, appreciate you coming out, man.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
No problem.
You've been listening to the Midnight Drive-In. Join us again next time when we'll hear Garrick say,
Rubber baby buggy bumpers, rubber baby buggy bumpers, rubber baby buggy bumpers.